Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of the Cats and Rats Podcast, episode number 46. I'm your host, Kirby Lupo, joined alongside, as always, my co-hosts, Cody Stevens and Nick Levine. Well, gentlemen, a lot more has happened here at the Battle of Florida with the Aaron Ekblad hit or forearm shiver on Brandon Hagel, and then Nico Mikkola, whatever he was doing in the corner there to Zemgus Girgensons.
Zemgus Girgensons.
There we go.
Latvian guy.
Latvian guy, right? I don't know why Mikkola's so mad at him, but anyway.
I don't know what the hell he was doing. I mean, what had me so mad was the fact that he leaned down and hit him again. Like
that's what got the suspension, and there's contact. We don't want to see contact to the head. I will be the first to state that here. Don't know what everyone's seeing online, social media, and going back and forth. Tampa Bay's fan base, but again, we got to clean some of that stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, it was just stupidity. I'm not gonna lie. At least the Ekblad one.
And as of recording, Cody, we are waiting to hear the word on here.
Yes, he is scheduled for a hearing as of, I believe, right around noon today. Elliot Freeman tweeted that out.
As of April 29th.
And now it's been about 5-6 hours because we're almost at puck drop of this Toronto-Ottawa game here that we've kind of got our eye on.
And I think all of us are in agreement where we believe it's going to be a game suspension.
Oh, I just thought of this, guys. Do you think it's going to happen at the first period intermission and Elliott's going to break it?
Why would they wait for Elliott to break it?
I don't know. Sometimes they do that.
Just tweet it, bro. Just tweet it.
Because you don't think it's going to come out today then, no?
It's going to come out today, no doubt.
The last one came out at 10 o'clock for Hagel.
10 p.m. Eastern time?
Yep. So I expected around
10
that.
10 p.m. Eastern time, Nick, or 10 a.m.?
Yes.
PM Eastern, yeah. Because you have to let the team know prior to game day.
And they're looking now at this Hagel injury, Cody?
I don't think the injury is going to add much to it.
Because you said he's out for game 5?
They announced he's out for game 5.
We talked about that on the live stream. We thought he was going to be out. Cody thought he was going to be playing. I'm like, you're freaking nuts. There's no way.
Harley thought that he was going to be too, so I wasn't alone on that.
Wow.
But
it's concussion protocol stuff.
But in terms of that, I mean, there's just 2 dirty hits by Mikkola and Ekblad. Ekblad's was, I think it was premeditated because he saw who Hagel was. He took a number, forearm shiver right to the jaw.
Mm-hmm.
Mikkola's was just plain stupid. Like he has the guy down on his knees. Why are you leaning down to hit him? Well, just why? There's no point in that. You're not just go for the damn puck. And
I don't like that push into the boards either. I looked at it on the slow-mo replay. It doesn't look that bad, but I don't like that stuff into the numbers, and then you follow through on that. By the way, we haven't recorded a podcast in a while. We've been trying to set up a guest here. Kind of fell through again yet to get today.
Oh.
We have our recap shows over on the YouTube channel.
Okay, so news is just broke. Ekblad got 2 games.
2 games?
2 games.
Oh, just dropped now. See, I was not surprised.
Wow.
We 1 to 2 games off the air to Cody when we were waiting here for our guest today. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised. 1 to 2 games.
So Ekblad's next potential game
is game 7.
Is either a game 7 or game 1 of the next round.
No, you could miss game 1 of the next round.
You could miss game 1. It could be game 2 of the Toronto series.
Oh, that's true. It's either game 7 or the next round. One of the
Ottawa. We're waiting a long time here, Nick.
But Ekblad suspended for 2 games. And now that
I like it for the fact fans can't come on us and just like, oh, Colin Campbell runs the league and Florida Panthers, George Peros, former Florida Panther, which he did absolutely nothing for us when he was a Panther, did everything as an Anaheim Duck.
So,
Matthew Tkachuk thing, all that stuff.
So there's no excuses now for Lightning fans now.
No excuses from Leafs fans, Bruins Nation.
Then again, they had no excuse. They had a 5-minute power play, and because after the Mikkola hit, gets the 5-minute major. And
now you said you didn't like the Mikkola one, Cody, but again, I told you this off air. That suspension kind of happened last game when they gave him 5 in a game. That was his.
I don't like the hit, but when he got thrown out, I'm like, okay. All right, so now that makes me wonder if Ekblad was thrown out of that game, does he just get the 1? because I do think that plays into it. Because Mikkola did miss pretty much like a
Yeah,
game.
they play into it. I'm not against that. It depends what they think. Again, we're on air right now, so we don't know what the office is saying when they do they release those videos during the playoffs to say
Yeah, they should.
I don't know if can we play that on here? I don't know. We have it.
Yeah, I can
How
have
does that change the series?
Well, I said this plays into Game 5, and I
don't
recap show.
I don't know if it changes that whole lot because we're 2-0 without him.
And they're without Hagel.
Yeah, so
but I mean,
but they play better without him for some reason.
It's unfortunate because it's like you just come back and
but you can't put yourself in that position. Like
now you're without him again.
I mean, he's thanking his lucky stars that he tied up game 4.
Yes.
Because if this was a 2-2,
of course, either people got to remember that if we go to overtime there and then Tampa wins it, all that heat's coming on Ekblad, and then he's going to get the suspension still. And now that is a big game changer with the series. You can breathe a little bit here, a little bit of sigh of relief, Cody. But now you got Mikkola paired back up with Kulikov, you'd think, and then Jones back up with Forsling, and then you got Blinkus back in line. A lot of moving parts here again. I don't just think it just goes seamlessly.
It's a lot of moving parts, but it's going to be a lot more seamless than I believe what you are, because we only played 2 games. So, in that lineup we played the last half of the season with.
But again, Ekblad, you mentioned this more than even me, Cody. He's not coming off an injury. He's coming off a suspension. He even said to the ESPN analyst guys before the game, he's like, I've never felt in better shape, coming into this series.
And that's probably a bad thing, because that's probably why he elbowed the hell out of Hagel.
Extra little.
That doesn't help. But in terms of this game,
and just want to add, Ekblad and Forsling played a lot of hockey together. So what you think of the pairing, whatever you think of Aaron Ekblad, they've played a lot of hockey together. Now we're putting guys back together that haven't either played together a lot or haven't been together at times this year.
But at least for now, with the back half of the season, Belinskas and Schmidt have played a bunch of games together. Mikkola and Kulikov have.
But do we need our bottom pairing to be our best pairing? I think
not really.
We just got to find a win right now. And again, the second game, that's going to play in the Toronto game.
I think our bottom pair just needs to be just where they were in the games 1 and 2, just right here. Just keep it simple. I thought Belinsky.
I'm shocked he gave him 2 games. I think that's a load of bullshit. Honest, 2 games for that. That's crazy.
I don't.
I think that's a load of bullshit.
I think that's the bias.
I'm not worried as a Panther fan. Then we need some more Nate Schmidt masterclass performances, Nick. Because again, we got 5 goals from our defense through 4 games.
We're going to need
our score cap? 7 goals or 8
We're going to need a Seth Jones masterclass.
All the pressure back on him. And if things go wrong, blame Seth Jones again. There you are, Chicago Blackhawks fans. Didn't see you there the other night.
But Seth Jones has been really good in this series for the Panthers. Really good. I mean, I think he's been our best defenseman overall this series.
That and Schmidt, yeah.
But of course, Schmidt's going to be up there. 3 goals, my bad.
You don't have a lot of expectations of those bottom guys. But Cody, you and I have been an advocate of his game since December. Like Paul Marie said, since 4 Nations, especially, he's been our most consistent Panther back there on the blue line, and he used to do that in the playoffs and then add offensive production. You got to give Nate Schmidt his flowers.
Oh, 100%. But now the pressure's on Uvis Belinskas. But
Sure.
But Belinskas, through the 2 playoff games, he had one meh period.
Yeah.
But besides that, he was really steady throughout periods 2 and 3 of game 1, and then all of game 2. That pair was fine.
I just think it's
Sportsnet breaking it down.
You keep putting yourself in this position. I mean, you just got back, you survived it, and now you have to do it again.
Yeah, against a pretty angry Tampa Bay team, namely John Cooper.
Right.
Yeah.
But
John Cooper has entered the series, everyone.
Well, I think we're going to end up being all right. We have a 3-1 series lead. We know our game. We've played this team with this roster before. There is some familiarity. So I think we're going to be fine, but it is frustrating. I mean, I'm shocked they gave him 2 games. I really am. I mean, that's you're telling me in the regular season that was going to get 4 games?
Yeah.
Well, some fans were DMing me and tweeting me, and they said, Kirby, you got to put someone in the hospital to get 2 games. I'm like, yeah, there's some truth to that. Look at Alex.
What did Jamie Benn got 2 games? Did he not?
What's that?
Jamie Benn got 2 for what, the cross check on Stone like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, to the net area.
You're telling me that's the same thing? I'm not gonna whatever.
Okay, I'll say that Ben one should be 3 to 4 games, but the Ekblad I'm fine with 2. Are you fine with the answer?
Well, the NHL doesn't agree, so I really, with all due
Well, that
respect,
would be maybe Ben got off a little easy with that.
well, you would have to think, right?
Yeah, I still think the Petrangelo one was worse. I think that should have been 2.
That was only right.
Yeah, because that was a whole hack and slash.
And Drysdale's finger was like sliced off. It looked like.
Yeah, but in terms of like this game, like, but I don't care what like any Tampa Bay fan says. Like, oh, the good that tied the goal should have been thrown out of the game. You guys had a 5-minute power play, and they didn't get a sniff. They weren't even close on that power play.
Former Panthers head coach, who's in the news right now for other reasons, Joe Quenneville always said, whatever team wins, you know, that 5-on-3, or if you have to kill, I think even a 5-minute major, that team deserves to win the game. We didn't think the Panthers were going to escape with that win, but that was a huge kill because the game's over there. If they score there and they're up, you know, 2-3 goals there, that's a different game. And Panthers able to kill that. That's been the story of this series through 4 games, I would say, is the Panthers penalty kill. And people that are like, well, you know, that was a save that Vasi could have had, or Bob could have been a little bit better there. What about Nikita Kucherov? And Nikita Kucherov on the power play, he's getting puck touches, but he's doing nothing with it. And the Tampa Bay power play is all on exterior, and you got to give credit to the Panthers. I think coming into this series, the Tampa Bay Lightning were about 1.52 for slot shot opportunities or attempts. In this series, they're about 0.50. And that's a lot of credit to the Panthers, and namely the Panthers forwards of getting sticks in the lane and breaking up a lot of plays there. But if you're a Tampa Bay Lightning star player, namely Kucherov here, you got to be a lot better, and especially on the power play. Panthers just snuffing that out completely, and that's been point of this series. And Cody, that's why, and Nick, I didn't put Kucherov in my top 5 for this series, and I didn't put him in honorable mention. And people would have thought, what are you doing, Kirby? Like, this guy's up for, you know, MVP and for the Art Ross. But I've seen it over the last couple playoffs. And you can even go back to Toronto. Toronto wasn't playing the defense that they are now. He's been pretty much a no-show here for about 3 playoffs.
Nick, can we get pissed off about the Ekblad thing a little bit later? You're like,
oh my God, I'm like shocked.
Like Nick's over here is like texting everyone and their mother.
Well, I'm getting a lot of texts right there. I'm telling them I'm doing something right now. But
okay, yeah.
Anyway, I'll be distracted by watching Anthony Stolarz if Nick's distracted by his phone on Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm not shocked it was 2 games. I'm not. I always thought it was a possibility, but it's just like I said, it's
a possibility because I was throwing that number out on our post-game spaces. Appreciate all the numbers there.
I was at 1.
I don't know how they give them 2, especially in a playoff. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I think right before we started, I think I was proven wrong on one thing. I think the injury did have something to do with it.
It does, yeah. And we talked about that bit, but I also think it's not a natural hockey play. And we'll see. We're recording here.
I don't know. I don't know why you're hitting the guy like this. Just push him down.
Like PK Subban saying that he was doing this in the 2010s, or guys were the hell they weren't, Cody. That's Scott Stevens era. And people talk about Chris Pronger. Chris Pronger did a lot with his stick. But if you're coming in with elbows and shivers and things like that,
Chris Pronger
in the 90s or 2000, if they rammed a guy into the glass with their elbows, say they would have got suspended.
But Chris Pronger is such a bad example. Like Chris Pronger was like. He would cross-check guys to an oblivion, but he would cross-check them so much they just stopped calling the cross-check.
Till the guy was dust. Remember those mutant hockey games or NHL hits?
Yeah, like Pronger's not a good example. But then again, PK Subban does have a point because guess whose era did he play in? Rafi Torres, Matt Cook.
Oh. But when they're eliminating all those blindside hits and things, and like, we need to take this out of the game. And Cody, that's a good thing. I even thought that was a good thing at the time. Those blindside hits, and again, Tkachuk got very lucky there. One of our co-hosts, Ryan, said he rerouted his body there to make that hit on Gensel, which is right. And then when he hit his head on the ice, it was as a result of the clean hit, nothing dirty. But if you hit a guy,
what was a late hit
or dirty, and then you hit the back of your head, that's a double whammy to me, Nick. And that's why the 2 games.
Oh, so 1 game here, 1 game.
Yeah, 1 game here, 1 game there. Chain reaction, and they saw Hagel was not going to be playing before this suspension was announced.
So they ruled them out quick. So
that's why they did it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
there's no question about that. But I mean, again, it's thank goodness we won that game. Game 4, and Aaron Ekblad probably knew. He's like, "That's my parting gift to you guys. Just like go win Game 4, the 4th game without me."
Ekblad has tested, I should say, the fans' patience and also those teammates in that locker room. Like, come on, like, what are you doing?
I mean, this is getting a little ridiculous.
What's Bill Zito's and Paul Maurice? Because we know now, guys, they meet for 1 hour before every game, before every day. So wonder what their meetings were on Aaron Ekblad here today.
Walks in, Aaron again. Yes.
Bill Zito's like, I'm sorry, Paul, but you're gonna have to do further master classes.
Yes, but that's all right, because what does Paul Maurice do best?
Salad.
Paul Maurice puts on master classes.
Do we just want him to be the greatest all time here, Nick? What?
Yeah, why not?
Moment here, Al Arbor class here.
Yes, absolutely. We got to get a couple more cups for that.
But looking to game 5 here, I will say this now. Every winner of the Battle of Florida has won the series on home ice. I just got to put that stat out there because remember, Bolts 2021 Game 6 in Tampa, 2022 Game 4 in Tampa, and then last year for the Panthers 2024 Game 5 in Sunrise. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here with Game 5. I'm expecting everything, the kitchen sink. Like, I mean, Tampa's going to be throwing everything like a woman scorned, like out the window, like the movies where they just throw like all the guys' stuff out in the yard. That's what I'm expecting.
That actually happened to Martin Brodeur, but
we're going to need Forsling and Jones to come up big again here.
But I just want to get back to Cody's point really quick here, Nick. The lack of home ice advantage. We were 4 minutes away, or less than 4 minutes away, of no home team recording a win in this series. Would have been the only one, I think, here in the 2025 NHL playoffs. And a shout out to one of our co-hosts, Ben Sanders, overseas in Wales. He said, I don't think there's going to be home ice advantage in this series, Kirby, like you've mentioned with the numbers there, with Tampa only having 8 regulation losses during the regular season on home ice. Panthers, I think we're around 11 or 12, Cody, but we had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup, so I think that record would have been...
It just skews the numbers so badly.
It skews the numbers a little bit there. But there really hasn't been home ice advantage in this series. You can argue the road teams have played the better hockey throughout this series. So how will it play out in Game 5?
But home ice doesn't really matter in a matchup when there's so much close proximity of each other.
Right.
Like Calgary, Edmonton, I don't think home ice really matters all that much. You're in the same province, same thing, eating the same thing, seeing the same sights. I think you're eating the same foods. Same thing. Battle of Ontario, same province.
Yeah.
And then Battle of Florida, still in Florida. Like same
I was
thing.
wrong on the Toronto-Ottawa series because I thought it'd be a little bit of a road warrior series, and that's what our series turned into.
But
from the start.
But Braden Point controller disconnected at the worst time, leading to that Ekblad goal.
Did they come out and discuss that? Because Gensel leaves them and drops them to Point, and then they said on the ESPN broadcasting, at least that's supposed to be Point's guy there. I don't think you can blame Hedman. I think he's over there trying to cover another guy.
You can't blame Hedman. You can blame two guys, Gensel and Point, because Gensel could have cleared the puck, but it was a good keep in by, I think it was Ekblad that kept it in.
Yes. And Barkov kept it in before that, if you remember, on the other side of the ice there. A lot of nice keep-ins by the Panthers.
Yeah, that's what Cooper said post-game, is that Tampa Bay had a lot of chances to clear the puck, and they didn't. I don't understand. Like, that third goal, that's not a result of anything. I think Ottawa just scored. I don't think that's a result of anything like a defensive breakdown or anything. The shot goes off.
You can't give up down there, and I haven't.
Yeah, but that's that's what he struggles with, is those shots from the points that get deflected. He has trouble tracking that. Yeah. And I originally thought it was Marchand who deflected it in. I was at the game. I didn't see what happened. It goes off McDonough's skate, and that's just, he's trying to block a shot there. But I really want to give credit to Sam Reinhart on that play, because that pass off the pad right there and Ekblad, it was just a smart play. Kirby, I think it was you who mentioned it. Zach Hyman, he does a play very similar to that, where he finds the open ice. I just thought it was
he does it from behind the net, and he just goes right towards the goalie, where Ekblad does it right from the point. I think Stolarz has more lady luck on his side, the defense in the post.
Speaking of luck, do you see that puck?
Man, Stolarz is so lucky. Like, the defense behind him clearing up pucks. Riley there, McCabe earlier in the series. But yeah, Hyman does it from the wall, from behind the board.
Yes.
Behind the net, I should say. And then Ekblad just did that straight lane drive there. And that's prime Aaron Ekblad.
And another smart play by Ekblad. He doesn't just fire it right back on net. He chips it over his glove side. Yes. A lot of time, how many times you just see, like, there's a rebound, you just swat at it, and it's right in his stomach.
Yeah.
I think that was also a really smart play there. And
But I want to get on your Ekblad. People might have just noticed at the end of the game what he was doing. I was noticing early in the game, and I talked to you guys on.
He was jumping up.
He's jumping up in the play, and he's seeking those plays. He's trying to find little soft areas and zones because I didn't see a lot of our other defensemen doing that. Seth Jones was carrying the puck through the neutral zone.
Seth Jones is jumping up a lot more
with the puck, but
Yes.
Ekblad was doing it without. And I'm like, oh, this is a little bit of prime Ekblad here, at least offensively. And then it pays off late in the game.
Yeah, and it's just like on the Tampa side, it's just a gut punch right there. Losing a game late like that, especially when you have the lead with like 3 minutes to go.
Yeah,
a lot of fans brought back that Mackenzie Weegar goal. They said we got a little bit back on them there with the Aaron Ekblad.
But it's like, how do they manage that now? Are they going to come out in game 5? Is that still in their head? Is that still going to bother them? Are they going to be able to wipe a clean slate here? I don't know. I think they've been, I mean, that rattle, like when they scored 2 goals in 11 seconds, I was pissed off. That the crowd was rattled. I can't imagine ending a game like that, right?
I'm shocked you were so happy they scored 2 goals in 11 seconds. I never thought you'd be so mad.
I was so mad.
Lightning set a history record in the same night the Panthers do. 11 seconds, 2 goals. It's crazy both teams do that in this game. This will always be remembered in the trivia annals, in the all-time history between these two teams in the Battle of Florida. So history made for both clubs. Good in the Panthers fact winning the game.
But the story of the series continues to be the Panthers penalty kill versus the Lightning power play.
Yes.
It's been the entire story because Tampa Bay the last 2 years have relied on their power play for a lot of their goal scoring, 5th in the league this year. And now they're dead last in all playoff teams that could qualify. And
second straight year, I think.
Okay. No. And the Panthers just have to do it for one more game. And I just want, and the thing is like I'm trying to look at last year's series and this year's series, and it seems like the Lightning Stamkos this year has been Jake Gensel. Gensel's had a hell of a series for Tampa, though.
I would say not quite to the level of Stamkos, but is that the guy you would put there?
He's their version of it this year.
I'll tell you who had a great game in game 4. I thought Braden Point was really good.
Yeah.
I think he was giving us a lot of
really good. Saying Braden
but
Point.
A guy I thought
missing that assignment. Game 2. He had those prime opportunities in the slot, missed the net on one or both.
And then Bob made the stop. And then another guy, Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, I think he's been really sharp in this series. Hasn't been asked to do a whole lot, but he's been needed to make some big time saves. And he's been excellent for us.
I don't think either goalie's been bad. If you say, well, you should have this save back or this goal back, I don't know. Like, I think they've been good overall. I think the stories of the series, I think, is very hard to define. We had Sam Reinhart at the top of our list or near top of us. Barkov, he hasn't quite been there. Tkachuk was there for one game. Last game in game 4, pretty non-existent. You've got to go down the lineups to like the Brad Marchands, the Nick Pauls, and I'm going to add both goalies, Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky. It's very hard to make a top 5 list so far in this series.
I think the story of this series, like you said, it's changed from game to game. Like, you take a look, first one, it's like Matthew Tkachuk's big return. The power play goal is what the heck happened. Then the second game, it's defensive shutdown and Sergei Bobrovsky. Third game, Tampa's able to bounce back. This fourth game is like Tampa gave it away. I mean,
but who are the individuals in this series? Are you fine with?
I cannot. It's everybody. It's everybody. It's not one
for Tampa. Find 5 guys in this series and say it's been their series.
I can't say that there's been really anybody outside of Seth Jones. I'll say that I've liked every game.
Really, I'll say Brad Marchand. I don't know.
Marchand, I didn't like his game 3, but yeah, and I thought Bobrovsky's been good all 4 games. I thought he was fine.
All right. Nothing better than our star players or their star players. That's the question or counterpoint.
Yeah, but the shocking thing this series is Hedman's not really been that great this series at all.
He's just been like you say, Cody.
Like McDonough's been better than him this series.
But who's our top defenseman this series?
Seth Jones.
Seth Jones. He's been really good.
Handing on the hill to themselves. Like, last year it was Forsling and Barkov, and then it was Tkachuk up front. And Bob had sometimes big saves. Vasi didn't quite have his game last year, right?
And it's not Verhaeghe. It's not the top line. It's not...
Verhaeghe had big goals.
But and you take a look, it's like Barkov and Reinhart, I think, are at a point per game. right now.
Yeah,
which is-
Barkov's had like 4 assists in 4 games.
That's
So,
wild.
I mean, you're quiet, kind of similar to what Kucherov did last year. But again, I also think it's what we've done on the defensive side of the puck. It's not like, oh, we're dominating.
collectively.
Shutting them down.
Yeah.
We're not giving them any ice. There's been a lot of extracurricular stuff that's made news in the media. But I think it's a collective effort. I think it's boring and ugly at the same time. It's not clinical outside of game 2.
Yeah. And
It is
players taking the moments like Schmidt, Glendening.
Yes, it's
like guys like that.
2 really good teams in tight games, and certain players, certain nights come up with a moment or two, and it's this that separates it. It's not like you said. It's a weird series. I don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah,
It is very
the Battle of Florida series. How you're trying to define it, especially offensively, and
right.
talk about the star players.
Like I think last year was.
For context.
Last year was more. I could define it very well. It was our top guys being better than their top guys, and we shut them down as a unit as well.
This year's just more shut them down as a unit.
Yeah, this year it's like shut them down as a unit, and then everything else is what the fuck. Like,
and again, I think maybe we're not where we are in this series if not for Brad Marchand. He breaks that icing play, I think that would be called there, gets the puck to Lusto or battles with Lusto in the court, then walks out and then gives it to Lundell for that huge goal there. Start the game. Panthers have scored every starting goal in this series in games 1 through 4. It hasn't always determined how the game's going to be played, but on the scoreboard.
Because the last 8 out of the last 9 games, the team that has scored first wins the game. The outlier being game 3.
Okay. But I don't think that's been a determining factor. We need to score the first goal in this game.
I think we need to score the first one game 5.
5? You don't want a game 6. you got things going on that.
Now I got to worry about like game 6, no Ekblad, sitting there in graduation just like this. Like
Cody, if we win game 5, no Aaron Ekblad for likely in Toronto that game 1.
are you less worried about that?
Yes.
We beat them without Ekblad twice.
But no, it's just like I don't know. It's just with Toronto. It's just I feel like they try and play such a similar game to us that I feel it'd probably be a little bit easier to play without Ekblad than versus Tampa.
Okay.
Well, the good thing is we only have to find a win here.
Yeah.
We have to find a win. And we got a couple chances to do that here. Hopefully it's on Wednesday for game 5, and we're going to find out soon.
Yeah, just before we continue with our outlook in the next couple series here, let's hear a word from our sponsors. First off, with our guy Jeremy Beckham at Next Home Treasure Coast. Hey, Panther fans in South Florida, need real estate help? Check out Jeremy Beckham with Next Home Treasure Coast. It's a boutique service with a personal touch. Jeremy and his team put humans over houses, working hard for you whether you're buying or selling. Ready to move? Hit up BeckSalesFLA.com or call 772-475-5371 now. You'll be glad you did. And let's hear from our other sponsor, CanesWear.
Panthers fever is here. Are you geared up? CanesWear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. CanesWear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at PanthersWear.com. Again, that's PanthersWear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
Thank you, AI Kirby. But now moving on, I mean, how are we looking for the rest of the series now that we know Aaron Ekblad is either coming back for the potential game 7 or in the next series here?
Well, what about, I alluded to it a little bit earlier here. What about John Cooper entering this series now and some of the politicking going on? And we haven't seen this from John Cooper in a couple playoffs now. I think not since Paul Maurice has been here anyways. In playoff matchups. So again, how does this play out here moving forward? Anything?
I have nothing appropriate to say about John Cooper. Go
Are our
ahead.
fans going to be upset that Tampa's going to get some calls or makeup calls, as they were saying in our post-game show?
I don't think there are any makeup calls to get now because Ekblad's out for 2 games.
There you go. There's your mega. Now,
I
Lightning.
think call the series tighter and give Tampa more.
Now,
yards.
Lightning fans can stop
Like that
bitching.
was-
Now they can stop bitching. But here's the real question:
Are you guys worried about the Tampa Bay power play getting off if they do get some calls in early in the games and they're calling it?
I think if they do go off, I think it's for 1 game.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good handle because again, what was our penalty kill the first 2 games?
We've only given up 1 power play goal against.
We were 7 for 8 in the first 2 games without Ekblad, I believe. So I mean, still pretty good, right? I mean, you know, the whole thing with the outlook for Game 5 in particular is the question of the pushback of Tampa. How does the end of that game affect how they approach this game or how they come in and how they play? Only time will tell when it comes to that. I think
Tampa responded well after that Ekblad hit. That's when John Cooper got fired up, and they get those 2 goals right after. So you can't say momentum didn't flip there. We were fortunate to pull out Game 4.
Oh, there's no doubt. We stole Game 4.
Yes,
we stole Game 4.
Those 1 or 2 flurries don't happen; they shut it down, and it's
like there's a couple of things that are series turning points. I think at Tampa we're going to win. Was if Tampa had won, that Hagel hit, the Ekblad Hagel hit, was the turning point there. But because we pulled it out, that's the turning point in this series. I believe it can be. Now, obviously, we have to finish the job, but the whole thing with this is there's also another facet of this: Brandon Hagel being out for Game 5. I have actually been more impressed with the depth of Tampa Bay than I gave them credit for. They played hard, but again, it is no doubt a hurdle now that you're down one of your best players. And I know everybody's they look.
Pirelli's still hurt and banged up.
Yeah, but
Pirelli being hurt. It's like, they look better without him. I'm like, guys, he's still, what is he, a 35, 40 goal scorer? I mean,
he had 90 points this year or something like that.
90 points. So it's like it's a big loss still.
Yeah.
Right? And it's
and that hurts their 5-on-5.
Yes.
And their
stuff.
And their ability and their penalty kill, because Hagel, big part of that penalty kill. Hagel, one of the very few guys, then again, he can't kill you on the power play because he hasn't scored a power play goal. But
Connor Geeky will probably draw back in for Tampa.
You know, it's funny. I didn't even realize he got scratched.
Yeah, why was he out? I thought he's been good, and that's one of my X Factor guys. I thought he really had some juice there. What in Game 3?
Both of my X Factors scored the second goal in the 11 seconds.
But but Geeky, I think Cooper just rather went with Chafee than Geeky.
I thought Chafee, and he got a goal, but I thought he had a good game.
But the thing is with Nick, the next one is you got one without Hagel. Can you get a second one? Because Florida has proven they can win without Ekblad in this series. They've done it twice.
Mm-hmm.
Once is luck, twice is a trend.
Yeah.
And especially the second one being that shutout where Tampa was just stonewalled the entire game. And I'm expecting a big game from Sergei Bobrovsky here.
Yeah.
Because if one thing I do believe in, I think Bobrovsky is one of the best goalies in shutout games, in closeout games, I believe.
I think it was me and Nick that had Vasilevsky higher on our top 5 list, and you had Bob higher, Cody?
Yeah.
Okay, so me and Nick, I think our train of thought was with Vasilevsky, he's going to be more challenged in this series.
But that hasn't been the case. The series.
Well, we've been good. We haven't given Bob a lot of, high danger opportunities. We've shut things down,
And that's probably the most impressive part, especially the first 2 games. I mean, Game 3, it is what it is. I don't think we had enough jump in front of them. But even yesterday, it's like, okay, the 11 seconds are there, fine. But then the rest of the game, what do you got? And there's not much, and Tampa's trying to stretch the neutral zone, and we did a really good job of closing that down.
You said you saw that at the rink really well, where they're trying to stretch us.
Yeah, I mean, they were just – and there were times – there was just one time they passed it up. There was nothing there. They had to pass it back for Point. Then Point dropped it back. Then they gave it to the winger, and then he passed it back. There's 3-4 drops.
That's called the slingshot. So they were stretching it back to their defensive zone and then trying to stretch it forward.
3-4 times, Kirby. And they're not be able to get through.
System, I believe.
What?
Sweden national program. I don't know. Is that John Cooper's learning things from the Sweden national team program. I don't know.
Maybe he learned it from Hedman at 4 Nations.
Yeah, I've been told. I'm captain coach.
Yeah, but with Tampa. With this game in Games 5, it's just I know this is so cliche, but the first 10 minutes here are going to be huge because I'm expecting a huge push from Tampa to start. I mean, hitting every.
I have.
Everyone said that for game 2, Cody.
I've been saying that. I haven't seen it.
I think you saw it in game. You saw it in game 2. Like game 2, you saw it for a minute. Like it was like it was really minute.
And then you know what ended that? You know what ended that?
First periods have been awful, Nick. Through the
Yes,
the second period's been their best period.
And here's the thing. You know what stopped that momentum, Cody?
The penalty kill.
The penalty kill. We killed their penalty, and it's like that's like
because they're like in their mind, Nick. They're like, "Oh, we got a power play. We're gonna get going 5 minutes into this hockey game," but it hasn't happened.
Right. So it's
shout out Nico Sturm. He's having a hell of a series.
80% of the draw yesterday was.
What is he overall on the series? Because I was getting on him a little bit coming into this series. Like, we need you, Nico Sturm, at top 6 NHL caliber level in the face-off circuit. That's what he was when he came over from San Jose.
Sturm is at 53.8% in the circle this series.
Okay, but what was he in the season? 58, 62? Like, he was pretty high.
58%.
Yeah. Sturm at 53. Barkov's at 63.1.
Wow.
Bennett's probably at 12.
Bennett's at 39.
I was going to say 33 or 35. Okay.
Lundell's at 50.
Lundell had a bad game. I think he was 20% in the dot.
Yeah, but he bounced back. He's back at 50.
That third line had a good game yesterday. The one thing is Lostarina needs to bury some of those chances. He's had a couple looks this series. Marchand and Lundell have been setting it up. They could have another goal or two on that line.
But Paul Maurice, all he said, he's need a big goal from the third line for the entire series.
And that was it. And he got it.
Are we supposed to score every game with our third line? That's not what they're constructed to do. And just on the Nico Sturm front, guys, I've been very impressed with his PK, but I need a little bit more 5v5. But if we're in the box a lot, Paul Maurice can't run all 4 lines.
Yeah, and he shortened the bench because we were down 1 late in the game. So you're not going to see much from the fourth line 5v5. And when they got their chances, I thought they caused some ruckus. I thought they had some.
I thought Greer, but he never had a chance to get going because of his teammates and the undisciplined penalties.
Here's the thing: does Boqvist come out? You think?
No.
I want Boqvist out. I've wanted him out for a while. If people haven't heard on the podcast side, you've heard me on the post game. I wanted Boqvist coming out before Mackey. It makes no sense, Nick. We haven't talked to our podcast audience on this, to drop Mackey down to the fourth line. But I think Paul Maurice was thinking, well, he's contributing on our PP1. But there's no fit there on the fourth line. So if they're trying to work him back in, you've got to bring Mackey up. You've got to drop Erod down. And you probably got to take Boqvist out and keep Greer in. So I think those are the lines.
I'm surprised he was as patient with the lines as he was yesterday.
But he stayed with it, and guess what? It ended up in a victory. But the thing is the one thing I do agree with Maurice is, if you're going to put Mackey on the fourth line, I think he's better off being scratched.
But like you mentioned last night, she thinks he's a key, and I can see her point a little bit. He's a key to our zone entries and creating some offense and creating some transitional rush play. And he's one of our fastest skaters. When you're bogged down in these tight, low-event hockey games, isn't a guy like Mackey able to break through for us? And when you have Boqvist out there, Boqvist has 0 shot attempts and 0 shots on goal.
And every puck's bouncing over his stick.
He comes into the zone with the puck. He's not even looking to put the puck on net for an attempted shot. So Mackey's going to come out there and add a different element to the game. Now you're saying to Erod, you got to move down the lineup and be in a checking role situation or way down the lineup. I don't know what that means for Brad Marchand if you want to try to bump him up. But like you said, Cody, you can't play Mackey on the fourth line. So you'd have to do quite a bit of line juggling here if you do want to insert him back in there. But he does things for us on the power play and for zone entries.
But if you're going to insert him back, you put him back in the second line, you move Erod back down, and then you scratch Boqvist. Because Greer, I thought his presence was known immediately.
Yep.
The speed was shown. Physicality was shown on the F1 with the forecheck.
Or battle, yeah.
And you're not scratching Sturm. Sturm's like Stenlund. He's he's too valuable in the PK, and we haven't seen too much of him 5-on-5 because of all the penalties.
Yeah, and this is another reason why I don't think Nosek comes back in. Puljujarvi, I really liked how he played, but there's a numbers game right now and a numbers crunch with all the forwards we have. If we stay healthy,
but
get suspended.
Well, no one would have guessed Puljujarvi was going to come in and hit everything that freaking moved.
But wouldn't that just get under like Jake Gensel's skin right now? And some of these Tampa Bay guys, that their psyche is, you can say, a little questionable in this series. You know, Hagel's been rocked now. If he comes back into the series at any point, Cirelli, that's banged up. Yeah, a lot of guys here, you know. You might get under Hedman's skin a little bit if you throw a guy like Puljujarvi back.
Kucherov.
Kucherov, yep, Kucherov as well. I don't know who Yard would be lined
And
up.
I wonder, is it getting in Cooper's head now? Because
Has to be. Maurice is like, you see how like Maurice just like perfectly handled that him trying to troll him.
yeah,
And my wife thought it was pretty funny.
but the thing is, I mean,
Kindness.
yeah, because him and Cooper are probably friends off the ice. They understand it's a business, it's a mental game right now. So, like, Paul Maurice ain't gonna take like personal effect to that. But the thing is,
Paul Maurice operates in the media better.
yeah,
than
but
Cooper.
but what the thing was when Cooper got that fired up after that goal. That's the I question. I'm like, is it getting to him now? Because
Greg Berube would have been like, sit down, Coop.
because
Greg Brewer say, Mark Savard, sit down. You're not wearing a jersey.
because Maurice, until a series is over, is like this, unless he's yelling at an official or something like that.
Well, that's
He was pumped up for that Jones goal. He was pumped up for the Jones goal, but then he went right back to looking at the screen.
Yeah,
John
but yeah,
weird. He'll have interviews on the bench, and he's like, "Well, they're doing good things, so you got to give them credit over there. We're doing things as best we can." I'm like, "What?" And that's the first time I've seen in a while, Cody, him that fired up.
but a fist bump and then calm yourself down is different than walking up down the bench like that's how you do it.
But that's how that clown's always been, and he hasn't been like that over these last two runs here. Because I'm like, is he burnt out? Is he tired? You know, that's what I thought last year.
Hey, we had two
more adjustments this round. I'll give Cooper credit than last.
Look, if Tampa goes out in the first round this year and it happens again, I wonder if they start to look elsewhere coach wise.
Oh wow!
Like,
if you start doing that, Carolina,
you can
ready for a whole new roster makeup and roster change there.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: it's like they're nowhere near a rebuild.
Not dealing with Kucherov, Nick. What's someone else going to be dealing with Kucherov? Huh.
Like, here's the thing: we've had two coaches in the past couple days that I thought were pretty safe in a job going elsewhere. Mike Sullivan, Pittsburgh Penguins, who I thought proved his worth at Four Nations the way he coached that Team USA team. And then today, April 29th, Rick Tocchet looking for other employment. So
I'm getting some thunder here. Speaking of the Lightning, do you think Mike Sullivan might be coaching his son-in-law here as his next job?
Well,
I think here's what I believe. I'll just put this in the podcast now.
LA might become available too.
I think Sullivan's going to be a Ranger.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I think he's going to New York.
But if he gets that Boston job,
So I have a question: if LA loses a series, is Hiller gone?
No.
Oh, I think he is.
I'm a little partial to that because I'm not a Jim Hiller
But
guy.
You hate him, like you've always hated him.
So does all of Twitter now.
And first of all, he didn't always hate him. He's like, "Who the hell is this guy?" That was his
when you
first
listen to Kirby, guys. That's why I use the Kirby's always right me. People are like, why is Kirby going on Jim? Even Cody, like Jim Hiller, that's an odd guy to not like. Well, if you looked at Twitter over the last 48 hours, guys are making 8-minute video monologues on getting rid of Jim Hiller that are king.
that 8-minute video monologue was actually longer than half of his bottom six ice time. So,
oh yeah, some of the worst ice minute deployment I've ever seen. You got four guys above 30 minutes on the defense core, and the other two are not even close to 15 minutes. But I don't know. With Tocchet, I'm feeling Philadelphia. Like,
what are they doing?
Playing days.
What are they doing?
Who, Philly or Vancouver?
Philly.
What do you mean?
Why would they go after Tocchet? They need to retool. They need to get
help develop their younger players.
I don't know.
Isn't Keith Jones still there?
Yeah, Keith Jones is president of Hockey Ops over there.
He might not have played with Tocchet, but he probably knew about.
But Tocchet has Philly
roots.
So
I think LA is going to be an open spot, and that to me would be.
I still think LA could still win this series. So if they lose in 6, then I entertain the idea.
I'm kind of a coin flip on that, even though I'm not a big Hiller guy. They got to have the right coach in the right spot for someone. But there is a lot of coaches available right now.
If Sullivan wants to go to LA, which I think coaches would want to go to LA, right? You'd have to think, you'd have to do it.
But I think.
I have a question. Do you think Jay Woodcroft gets a job?
Yes, it's a guy that's in the hunt now.
I think he deserves another one because he's one of the two coaches
He was fine.
Not this season, but last season.
Yeah.
Should
it look at Woodcroft or Nashville if they fire Bruno?
I don't think if Nashville would have fired Bruno, they would have done it already.
I think Woodcroft would be good for Chicago.
But to me,
by the way, Chicago. What's his U.S. national coach Carl?
David Carl. But David Carl's gonna be extremely picky because he knows
that is not good.
I also think Woodcroft would be really good for Anaheim and Chicago.
But
Anaheim, Woodcroft.
Yes, that's what I think. Anaheim.
You know what? That's a talking destination right there. Is Anaheim.
Guys, if Carl is shutting down that Chicago job, that is not good optics for the Chicago organization. I don't think it is at all.
But what was I gonna even say? I forgot. Like,
got into our little coaching carousel there. The others?
I completely forgot what I was about to say. Like
I think Travis Green is safe no matter what.
On Woodcroft, I was gonna say he was one of two coaches, not this season, but last season, fired because their goalies couldn't make a save.
I hate that.
He was fired because of that, because Stuart Skinner couldn't make a save, neither could Calvin Pickard. Or was he their backup at the time?
Jack Campbell was still on there.
Oh, it may have been Campbell.
Campbell was down in Bakersfield a bit.
But yeah. And then Everson was fired because the Wild goalie couldn't make a save.
Yeah. And look what everyone thinks of it.
Who ends up in Vancouver then, do you think?
Whoever the hell the cheapest one is.
Oh, yes. Cody's got a point there. Vancouver will not pay a coach more than $3 million. Remember when Florida Panthers used to be like that?
I thought they got a pretty good coach in Tocchet. No wonder. Well, they were offering him
$6 million, right, Cody?
Kirby, they said there was reports today as of April 29th that said they were going to make him the highest paid coach, and he declined.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
They only pay $3 million to their coaches in Vancouver.
I don't believe that for 1 second because they didn't want to pay Vigneault after he took him to a cup final. Like
Tortorella was there for a while.
They didn't want to pay Torts. They didn't they were in on Q with us, but they were paying him like $2 million short of what we were
not getting Q for a cheap price tag back then.
Vancouver's just Francesco Aquilini is one of the worst owners in this league.
Yeah. Frugal owner.
And what's funny is with ownership is a new villain has arose this season thanks to the agent polls from The Athletic. If you have not looked at them, I said you can read, but apparently the Carolina owner is not that great either.
Oh, it's cheap, I think, right?
Tom Dundon, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Neal talks about
they have terrible practice facilities and stuff.
They're not good with their alumni. Some other things as well. This Toronto Ottawa game is getting nasty.
Are they disrespecting
Mitch Marner's out there, doesn't look like he's touching anyone.
Of course, you got to throw that one in. But any predictions how this series goes? I'm sticking with Florida in 6.
I'm sticking with 6 because I have that. And now with the whole suspension thing here, Tampa Bay with a little momentum coming off this loss, angry maybe at home. They should give their best punch on home ice. We will see.
But if they don't, good night, Irene.
Yeah, I still think, again, we know what we're doing without Ekblad. We've done it enough. So we've had to.
Just blessed to see more playoff hockey here, be up in series, have a chance to advance here. Buckle up because if it is the Toronto Maple Leafs, things are going to get real spicy on our post-game shows, gentlemen.
Yep, but I think that's going to wrap us up there, gentlemen.
Yep.
But once again, thank you guys for listening and watching. Once again, thank you guys for 200 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Yep. Appreciate every single one of y'all. Appreciate the all the views on the After Darks that we've been doing post games. At 300 views last night as of this recording. Nick clapping on mute just for those who.
There you go.
People recognizing some of our co-hosts at the arena too. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Nick's getting recognized, eh?
Yes. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support.
Caesar.
Oh, I mean, it's hard not to recognize Caesar. I mean, look, Caesar, handsome mug right there. I mean, look at him.
Thanks.
Caesar's doing wheelies after the game too outside.
That's
Caesar growing that TikTok.
Wheelies or donuts, Kirby?
Oh, donuts. Sorry, yeah, not wheelies. He is.
I was to say he's wheeling
some of the
that
players
chair.
aren't leaving their feet in this series. I think Caesar's staying wheels down. So
I hope if the wheels are up in the air, something's wrong.
Caesar's exposure on TikTok's going through the roof. Settle down there, Tampa Bay fans. And if you're causing any problems, Nick's going to come over there. Nick, if he's doing that next round, you better be over there.
Whoa.
You don't let those Toronto fans come at him. One game away here.
Not.
Hey, but
Put out your ass, you fucks.
but once again, appreciate everybody listening. Just as always, hit the subscribe button, give us 5 stars on wherever you listen to the podcast. I think I can speak for all of us. We're all excited here for Game 6.
5.
Or 5. I keep thinking it's 6.
I think you're getting ahead of yourself.
6. Because you have a busy finish.
No 6.
I hope it's not 6 because I'm graduating during Game 6.
Okay.
So, but as we say goodbye to everybody, and as always, let's go Cats.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats.